and it seems like they haven't changed a whole lot from the original Team Fortress, and those are two of my favorite characters from that game. So it's definitely going to have to be those two. As far as my favorite character, probably the spy. There's a lot of good spy videos out there, especially stuff from Gary's Mod and things like that. So I would definitely go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen any of those. I mean, Heavy Weapons guy, I think he's a little overrated. His whole shtick is pretty much the funny voice and everything like that. He's really not that funny, in my opinion. So we're gonna move on to the next question. It's gonna be from Dorino Facade. How did you come up with the name Down Phoenix? That's a very good question. I was actually hoping somebody would ask this in the Q&A. Um, I don't know. It's kind of a tough thing. I came up with the name originally to troll a forum that I was part of about 4 years ago. Um, I kind of stopped using the name after a while, but then I started using it, and it became my main tagline. My original name used to be my internet name used to be Ancient Warrior, which I shortened it to Ancient a little bit later on. But Down Phoenix kind of fit me because at the time I was really big into the Final Fantasy games. I mean, I still like them, but not really as much as I used to. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII lately on my PlayStation 3, though. It's actually pretty nice. But anyways, as far as all that shabazz, the healing item Phoenix Down. Yeah, I'd kind of just switched it around, and then as far as my logo, my graphic, I took the Phoenix with the fireball from Halo 3, and I just did a little bit of photoshopping to make it an upside down Phoenix, basically. Um, so that's how I came up with it. The next question: what game, song, or movie would you consider a guilty pleasure? Um, as far as game, I'm really not sure what to say here because there's not really any games out there that I would consider a guilty pleasure because if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. Um, but I would have to say a recent game that would possibly qualify for this would be Wet. I mean, Wet kind of got bashed critically, but I thought it was a really well done game as far as the type of action movie game, the feel of the game. It was very well done. I also liked the character, which I can't remember her name, but she was voiced by Mila Kunis, if I'm not mistaken. It was pretty well done. Um, Also, as far as music, I'm gonna have to go with Limp Bizkit. Uh, I mean, it's kind of lame. I'm 27 years old and I listen to Limp Bizkit, but I mean, if you think about it though, back when they were big, yeah, I mean, I was still kind of in my music discovery phase, and whenever you're in your teenage years, the music you listen to then usually is going to stick with you for the rest of your life. Um, I mean, I don't know. I actually like the band though, but I would consider it a guilty pleasure because as far as lyrics and things like that, it's usually pretty shallow. Um, and other than West Borland, the band didn't really do a whole lot of artistic direction, but whatever. Um, as far as a movie, that's a very good question. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna have to say here. Kind of like with the game, I do watch a lot of movies. Uh, but one thing that I do want to bring up, there was a movie called Gamers, which actually got pretty poor reviews overall. But this was a really good movie. It's pretty much um, a fake documentary about these four guys that have been playing an ongoing Dungeons and Dragons game for over 20 years, and it's kind of chronicling their efforts to break the world record for longest game session or something like that. Um, but it's not really Dungeons and Dragons like Wizards and Warriors or something like that. I don't know if it's really a role playing game or not. I don't think it is. I think it was just a spoof. But yeah, that movie is really good. I really loved it. Um, I think maybe more so probably because it fit my demographic. Maybe not so much that it was a really good movie, but um, if you love role playing, you know, nerdy stuff, yeah, I definitely check it out. Okay, so we're gonna move on finally to SXCCR. Actually, I don't think that's his username. I probably put in wrong, but it's gonna be. Can I create an account specifically for Troll U called Upmultaris or Upmultris? Yeah, yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out. I mean, what can I really do, anyways? I mean, if you were to decide to create that account, I mean, there's really nothing I could do. I could either not pay attention to you and you'll eventually stop out of boredom, or I can be like certain people, such as Spax or Alexander, and get all pissy about someone trolling me and become the joke of YouTube. So yeah, just knock yourself out. We'll see how it goes. Taffarel asks, "Are you a man child?" Uh, well, I really don't know what to say here because really, what does man child mean? Let's go ahead and look it up. A grown man who is very immature, therefore considered a man child. Yeah, I suppose to some degree, yes, of course. I still have some of the things that I do that I used to do as a kid. But, I do have responsibilities that I have to follow, bills to pay, jobs to work at, and, things like that. So, not so much. Not like I used to be, perhaps, a few years ago. So, let's go ahead and move it on to Rasengan Fan 2 Returns. How old are you? Um, if you were paying attention, Rob already answered that, but it's 27. Uh, Gelthinox asked, "Would you fuck X Fighter?" No. And Idnuff636, "Would you fuck X Fighter, fucking Gallus, fucking Crawl Dragon, fucking a rabbit, or whatever Crawl is into?" First of all, if I'm not mistaken, Crawl's not into rabbits. Uh, but I'm not going to get into that. And second, no. Lightning Assassin. If you have, what's up with all these questions, anyways? Everybody's wanting to know if I'll do people or whatever. Lightning Assassin. If you had to have a foursome with Alexander 4488, Spax 3, and CWC, how would you go about it? Uh, I'm definitely not gonna be on the receiving end. I'll do all the dishing out because I don't even want to imagine where those penises have been, and I don't want that in me. So I'll do the dishing out. Thank you. Um, I mean, like I said, if I had to, I mean, obviously, if I didn't have to, I'd probably commit seppuku right there instead. So let's move on to some more questions. Got a couple more here. Celestial Games asked, "What video card would you recommend for a budget build computer?" I'll tell you what. There's a couple of different recommendations I can do here. It's kind of depending on if you're wanting to build a machine solely for gaming, or if you're just wanting a nice, regular video card that will serve your purposes, and you just want to make a more generic PC. If you're just wanting a nice regular video card, I'm definitely going to have to recommend to you the HDI or the Radeon HD 4500 or 4600 or whatever. I forgot what it is. It's only $50, and it does fairly decent video performance. You definitely be able to play any of the games that are out today. Maybe not at the best quality or whatever, but it's definitely gonna be a serviceable card. Um, Really, you're gonna need to spend at least $100. So if you're wanting a gaming machine card, and you probably want to go with Nvidia because their gaming performance is a little bit better overall. And then we're gonna move on to the final question. Wizwar, I mean LazyWorks Creations writes, "Chicken or watermelon?" Um, I'll go with chicken, even though it all tastes the same. And the reason for that is because the watermelon seeds, I mean, it's fun to spit those out at first, but it really gets tiring after a little while. After like the fifth seed you spit out, you're just pretty much done. And is your Wii non-existent to you anymore after getting the 360 and PS3? Actually, my Wii is non-existent at this point. I actually sold my Wii about this time last year. I sold it bundled with a few games for about $300. I probably could have got more out of it, but really I needed money. You gotta do what you gotta do. Uh, I might get a Wii again in the future, probably around this time next year. I'll probably treat myself to a Wii, but I'm not really in a hurry because there hasn't been a whole lot of games that I'm really interested in this system. Um, what I would mainly use it for is for the WiiWare and the Virtual Console, anyways. At this point, so yeah, this is a pretty long Q&A, even though there really wasn't that many questions because I had to BS a lot. But I'm glad I was able to answer these questions finally. And with that, guys, Down Phoenix out.